Hey friends, I'm Nate. Welcome to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. Today, we're going to do a couple of double oaked Brown Forman products. I don't believe I've done these before on the channel. This is Woodford double oaked, Woodford Reserve double oaked, and this is Old Forester 1910, which is also a double oaked product. So we're going to give these a pour. We're going to give these a taste. I'm a big fan of the 1910. I remember when I was in Kentucky for Whiskey Weekend, I did a distillery tour at Old Forester, and the flight they gave us was simply the 4 whiskey rows. And I do remember liking 1910 slightly more than 1920. So double oaked, we know is they age it for however long they're going to age it, and then they move it into another barrel for further maturation, which oftentimes when it comes to this, it's another brand new oak barrel. And so it just adds a little bit more char, a little bit more barrel flavor. Don't know the exact age on these, but we do know they're at least 4 years old because they're straight and non-age stated. And these come in at almost, they're very close in proof. So Woodford Reserve, pretty much most of their entry line or most of their basic stuff you can get is going to be 90.4 proof, which is 45.2% ABV. That's what the Woodford double oaked is. If you get a single barrel, it could be cask strength. It could be at the 90.4. And then as far as the 1910 goes, it's 93 proof, 46.5% ABV. All right, so in the it's bourbon night, we have the Woodford Reserve, and in the podcast, we have the 1910. A lot of caramel coming off of the Woodford Reserve, a lot of them. Now I'm combining these in the same video simply because they're similar type products and from the same family. So I'm partly comparing them. Number one, to see which one I prefer, and number two, to see how close they are, being from the same parent company, and they're going to use the same. They use really the same yeast strain, which is what gives Brown Forman a classic banana nose. So there is a little bit of banana in there, but it's very, very sugary, almost like you took brown sugar and so you cooked a banana, so it's kind of mushy, just a little bit, and then you covered the top of it with brown sugar, and then kind of you almost took a torch to it like you do to creme brulee, so it's kind of like sugar, banana, charred brown sugar on top of a banana. It's interesting, but it's not a ton of banana, so I'm talking about it because it's known for it, but it's not a ton of it. But the caramel is very, very strong, fruity. Yeah, it's caramel and fruit. Let's give this a taste. Good color. To me, the Woodford double oaked is darker than the 1910, so it could be either double oaked longer, or it could be just aged longer in general. This is a very enjoyable bourbon. Now, one of my local stores does have a pick of this in, so I should support them and grab it, and then compare the two. Oh, interesting. So the double barreling, bourbon finished in new, heavily toasted, lightly charred barrels. So that's interesting. And then 1910 is rebarreled in heavily charred barrels. So that I said the color difference earlier. Now they're very, very close. Just got a cat hair in my nose. Kind of the same ordeal. They're very close, but this is a little lighter on the nose. Yeah, this is more intense. The Woodford is a little more intense on the nose. but they have very, very, very similar noses. Little less caramel on the 1910. This one's a little bit more sugar caramel forward. This one has it, but it's a little pulled back. A little bit of banana. Again, a little fruity. These noses are very, very similar. It tasted a little thinner. Now I know it's a little bit more proof, but it tastes a little bit thinner, meaning like the barrel. It's not giving me as much barrel as the double oak does. That as I was doing this to take a sip of the Woodford, the caramel jumped out that time. Okay. Between the two, I know that was short, wasn't too long. The Woodford Reserve takes it on both the nose and the palate. It's just more interesting. The caramelness is more dominant on the Woodford Reserve, and I really like that. The palate's also a little bit more interesting too. There was a thinness to the 1910 that was not. So, yeah, Woodford Reserve Double Oak beats out Old Forester 1910. Both still fantastic whiskeys. As you can see, I'm going to get close to replacing this soon. And this is the old, I believe this is the old label. I'm pretty sure because the new one's a little bit shinier. But I'll be replacing this soon, and I'll be looking to do the other Woodfords. I did over the summer finish my Old Forester 86, so I'll be looking to replace that either with another 86 or with the 100 or both. Why not get both? But I appreciate you sticking around. Please leave a comment. Which do you prefer between the two? What of your Woodford or Old Forester do you prefer in general? If you prefer 1910 over 1920 or vice versa. I did get the opportunity to try President's Choice while at Pours in the Park. Thank you to Zach from Bourbon Kingdom. That was fantastic. And so I appreciate you guys sticking along for the ride. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on all the social medias, and I'll see you later. Cheers.